20 fake foods you've probably been eating every month without even realizing it. If you buy around 50 grocery items for your family each month, there's a good chance a few of them aren't exactly what you think you're paying to bring home. That bottle of syrup on your breakfast table may not contain a single drop of real maple syrup. The crab in your sushi roll could be nothing more than shaped fish paste. And that slice of cheese in your sandwich may not be as simple as real cheese. What's surprising is that most of these products are still sold legally in the grocery stores you shop at all the time. They're not necessarily dangerous, but the packaging, images, and product names often lead people to believe they're getting something more valuable than they really are. Today, we're going to uncover 20 of those foods, and by the end of this video, you'll never read a food label the same way again. 20. Fake wasabi. The next time you order a plate of sushi, don't rush to mix that green paste next to the fish into your soy sauce. There's a fact that surprises a lot of people. More than 90%, and possibly as much as 99%, of the wasabi served at restaurants outside Japan isn't real wasabi. That means millions of people have been enjoying a completely different condiment for years without ever realizing it. Real wasabi comes from the rhizome of the Wasabia japonica plant, one of the most difficult crops in the world to cultivate. It grows only in clean, continuously flowing water with consistently cool temperatures, and it takes about 18 to 24 months before it's ready to harvest. Because the supply is so limited, fresh wasabi typically sells for around $80 to $160 per kilogram, and even more when harvests are poor. At those prices, very few restaurants can afford to serve real wasabi to every customer. What you usually see on the plate is actually a blend of horseradish, mustard, green food coloring, and flavoring. It's designed to recreate the sharp, nose-clearing heat that real wasabi is known for. Once it's eaten with soy sauce, pickled ginger, and fresh seafood, most diners can hardly tell the difference. The interesting part is that this product is completely legal and isn't considered fake. What surprises so many people is that they believe they're tasting one of Japan's most expensive condiments when they're actually eating a version that costs far less. And trust me, the next item on this list is even more surprising than wasabi. 19. Imitation crab, surimi. Do you think you're eating real crab when you order a California roll? The truth may surprise you. This famous sushi roll usually doesn't contain real crab the way many people assume. Instead, the familiar white and red crab meat is primarily surimi, a product made from white fish, most commonly Alaska pollock. Millions of people eat it every day without realizing they're actually eating a completely different food. The process of making surimi is surprisingly unique. The fish is finely ground, washed several times to remove odor and fat, then mixed with starch, sugar, salt, texture-enhancing ingredients, and crab flavoring before being formed into sticks. The red outer layer is added to resemble real crab legs. The result is a product whose appearance, color, and texture can easily fool the eye. Surimi has become so popular because it's inexpensive, made from a reliable supply of raw ingredients, and much easier to store than natural crab. According to NOAA, Alaska pollock is one of the most heavily harvested fish species in the United States, providing a steady supply for surimi production. Nutritionally, however, many surimi products contain between 400 and 800 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams, along with added starches and texture-enhancing ingredients that natural crab meat doesn't contain. The important thing to understand is that surimi isn't a fake or illegal product. It's labeled in accordance with regulations. What confuses many people is the way it's presented. The appearance, the name, and the way it's served often lead them to assume they're eating real crab. Just a few seconds spent reading the ingredient list will tell you whether you're choosing natural seafood or a fish-based product made to imitate the flavor of crab. 18. Fake maple syrup. If you pour syrup over pancakes or waffles every weekend, here's something that may surprise you. Many bottles with a maple flavor aren't pure maple syrup at all. Instead, the main ingredient is often corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup, blended with maple flavoring and caramel color to create that familiar taste. Real maple syrup is made from the sap of sugar maple trees. According to the North American maple syrup industry, it takes about 40 gallons of sap to produce just 1 gallon of maple syrup, which is why it's always more expensive. Vermont is the largest maple syrup producer in the United States, and the harvest season lasts only a short time each year. That's why a 32-ounce bottle of pure maple syrup typically costs around $12 to $20, while many pancake syrups sell for just $3 to $6. That doesn't mean maple-flavored syrups are bad or illegal. The issue is that many people see a maple leaf on the label and automatically assume they're buying real maple syrup. In reality, all it takes is a quick look at the ingredient list to spot the difference. If the first ingredient is corn syrup instead of pure maple syrup, you're buying a maple-flavored imitation, not pure maple syrup. Just a few seconds spent reading the label can tell you exactly what you're paying for. 17. Adulterated honey. Honey is considered one of the oldest natural foods in the world, but it's also one of the easiest to adulterate. Some products on grocery store shelves aren't entirely pure honey. Instead, they may be blended with corn syrup, rice syrup, glucose, or other sweeteners to lower production costs, while still keeping the same thick texture and familiar sweetness. Another detail that many people overlook is ultra-filtered honey. Ultra-fine filtration makes honey look clearer, smoother, and slower to crystallize. But it can also remove nearly all of the pollen. That's important because pollen is one of the key markers used to identify where honey comes from. Once the pollen is gone, tracing its origin becomes much more difficult, even though the product can still be sold legally if it's labeled according to regulations. That doesn't mean every bottle of honey should be viewed with suspicion. Many brands still sell pure honey with just one ingredient: honey. The easiest way to check is to read the ingredient list. If you see corn syrup, rice syrup, glucose, or any other sweetener in addition to honey, you're buying a blended product. Sometimes the difference between paying for real honey and paying for something that simply tastes like honey comes down to a few small words on the back of the bottle. 16. Extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil has long been considered one of the healthiest cooking oils you can buy. But not every bottle labeled extra virgin actually contains oil that meets that standard. For years, olive oil fraud has been a recurring issue in the food industry, with some products diluted with cheaper vegetable oils or made from lower-grade olive oil while still being marketed as premium. A well-known study by the University of California, Davis, UC Davis, examined a number of imported olive oil samples and found that quite a few products labeled extra virgin failed to meet the sensory or chemical standards required for that grade. That doesn't mean every brand is misleading consumers, but it does show that shoppers shouldn't rely only on what's printed on the front of the bottle. Real extra virgin olive oil should be cold-pressed from olives, never chemically refined, and should have a fruity aroma, a slightly peppery taste, and a mild bitterness on the finish. If the oil has almost no aroma or tastes flat, the quality may not be what you expect. When shopping, look for dark-colored bottles that clearly state the country of origin, harvest year, or quality certifications from well-known olive-growing regions in Italy, Spain, or Greece. Sometimes, spending a few extra minutes reading the label is far more valuable than simply trusting a flag or an olive branch on the front of the bottle. 15. Pre-grated Parmesan. A container of pre-grated Parmesan is incredibly convenient and found in countless kitchens. But many people would be surprised to learn that it isn't made entirely of pure Parmesan. To keep the shredded cheese from clumping together during storage, many manufacturers add cellulose, an anti-caking agent that's approved for use in food. Cellulose is typically made from refined plant fibers and is completely different from the sawdust rumors that often circulate online. However, because cellulose can also be derived from wood pulp, it's frequently mistaken for wood powder. The FDA allows cellulose to be used within safe limits as an anti-caking agent, as long as it's clearly listed on the label. That doesn't mean the product is fake, but it does mean you're not buying only cheese. If you want the richest flavor, many chefs still recommend buying a whole wedge of Parmigiano Reggiano and grating it fresh right before serving. It's produced under strict regulations in Italy and aged for at least 12 months, giving it the distinctive aroma and rich flavor that pre-grated products can't fully replicate. So the next time you pick up a container of Parmesan, spend a few seconds reading the ingredient list. You may discover you're buying more than one ingredient, not just cheese. 14. Sliced cheese. Those perfectly stacked yellow cheese slices in burgers and sandwiches look just like traditional cheese, but many of them legally can't be labeled simply as cheese. Instead, you'll often see phrases like pasteurized processed cheese product or processed cheese food on the package. The difference is only a few small words, but they reveal a lot about what's actually inside. Under FDA regulations, certain types of processed cheese must contain at least about 51% cheese to meet the standards for their specific product category. The rest may include water, milk, whey, emulsifiers such as sodium citrate or sodium phosphate, along with other ingredients that create a smooth, uniform texture. Those emulsifiers are what allow the cheese to melt evenly, resist separating into oil when heated, and keep its shape in fast food meals. That's exactly why hamburger chains and processed food manufacturers rely on it so heavily. It has a longer shelf life, more consistent quality, and stays the same from one production batch to the next. That doesn't mean processed cheese is fake cheese. It's still a legal food product, but it's different from the natural cheese that many people picture. The next time you buy sliced cheese, take a closer look at the product name on the package. A single word like product or food can tell you exactly what kind of cheese you're buying. 13. Cool Whip. Have you ever wondered why a tub of Cool Whip can stay light and fluffy in the freezer much longer than freshly whipped cream? The answer is in the formula. Even though it's commonly used in place of whipped cream on desserts, fruit, or hot chocolate, Cool Whip isn't whipped cream in the traditional sense. If you look at the ingredient list, you'll see that water comes first, followed by vegetable oil, sweeteners, and stabilizers that help the product hold its texture after thawing. Many versions also contain high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, or other syrup-based sweeteners, along with hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, depending on the formula and the market. These ingredients are exactly what make the product much more stable than whipped cream made from dairy cream, which can quickly separate and lose its fluffy texture. That's also why Cool Whip has been a staple in American households for decades. It's convenient, easy to store, and has a much longer shelf life than fresh whipped cream. But if you think you're eating pure whipped cream, the reality is different. Just spend a few seconds reading the ingredient list, and you'll see that it's a product formulated to imitate the taste and texture of whipped cream, not traditional dairy whipped cream. 12. Coffee creamer. Every morning, millions of Americans pour a little coffee creamer into their cup, believing they're adding cream. But if you turn over many of the most popular bottles, you'll find something surprising. Quite a few of them contain little to no actual cream. That rich white color comes mainly from water, corn syrup, soybean oil, along with stabilizers and emulsifiers that keep the mixture smooth and uniform. That's why many creamers last much longer than fresh cream and are less likely to separate in the refrigerator. Ingredients like dipotassium phosphate keep the coffee from curdling when it meets acidity, while soybean oil creates a creamy mouthfeel similar to milk fat at a much lower cost. That combination allows manufacturers to produce a product with consistent flavor, a long shelf life, and an affordable price. That doesn't mean coffee creamer is fake or unsafe. The issue is that the name leads many people to believe they're pouring real cream into their coffee every morning. In reality, just reading the first few lines of the ingredient list will tell you whether it's made with cream or primarily with vegetable oil and syrup. Sometimes, what changes the flavor of your morning coffee isn't dairy at all, but a formula designed to mimic the experience of cream at a much lower cost. 11. Imitation vanilla. Go into your kitchen and grab any bottle of vanilla flavoring. That familiar aroma might make you think of vanilla beans drying under the sun in Madagascar. But the truth is, most of the vanilla flavor used around the world doesn't come from real vanilla beans. The primary flavor compound is synthetic vanillin, a substance that closely mimics the aroma of vanilla, but is produced in a laboratory. The reason is simple. Natural vanilla is incredibly expensive. In many growing regions, vanilla orchids have to be pollinated by hand. Each bean takes months to develop, and then goes through a long curing and drying process. Madagascar supplies about 70% to 80% of the world's vanilla beans, but production often fluctuates because of storms and weather conditions. As a result, vanilla bean prices have reached hundreds of dollars per kilogram at times, leading many manufacturers to switch to synthetic vanillin. What's interesting is that vanillin was once produced from byproducts of the paper industry. Today, it's mainly synthesized from other chemical compounds using more modern processes. It's completely legal and found in baked goods, ice cream, soft drinks, and thousands of other food products. If the label says vanilla extract, it comes from real vanilla beans. But if it only says vanillin or artificial flavor, the vanilla aroma you're tasting may never have come from a vanilla bean at all. 10. Cheap vanilla ice cream. A tub of vanilla ice cream that costs just a few dollars may have a wonderfully inviting aroma, but that vanilla scent doesn't necessarily come from real vanilla beans. In fact, many lower-priced ice creams use artificial vanilla flavor or vanillin instead of vanilla bean extract. Consumers still get that familiar vanilla taste, but the source of the flavor is completely different. The reason comes down to cost. Vanilla is one of the most expensive spices in the world, second only to saffron. According to international market prices, vanilla beans have topped $500 per kilogram during periods of limited supply. Synthetic vanillin, on the other hand, costs far less and delivers consistent flavor from one production batch to the next. For ice cream companies producing millions of cartons every year, that difference in cost is significant. That doesn't mean ice cream made with artificial vanilla flavor is less safe. It's a widely approved ingredient throughout the food industry. But if you're expecting the rich, layered flavor of real vanilla beans, the difference is noticeable. Premium ice creams often say real vanilla or vanilla extract on the label, or even contain tiny specks of vanilla bean throughout the ice cream. If the label simply says artificial flavor, there's a good chance the vanilla aroma you're enjoying was created in a laboratory rather than coming from real vanilla beans. 9. Chicken nuggets. Take a bite of a chicken nugget, and most people assume they're eating nothing but chicken breast. But in many processed products, the filling is actually a finely ground mixture of chicken, along with several other ingredients before it's shaped into nuggets. Depending on the brand, the recipe may include chicken meat, chicken skin, seasonings, starches, binding agents, and an outer coating that creates the crispy texture. In the food processing industry, some products also use mechanically separated chicken, meat that's removed from the bones using mechanical pressure. The meat is processed into a smooth, paste-like texture, then mixed with binders such as starch or protein to help it hold its shape before being formed and coated with breading. According to the USDA, this ingredient is permitted in certain products as long as it meets food safety standards and is properly labeled. That doesn't mean every nugget is made the same way. Many brands now advertise that they use 100% chicken breast and no mechanically separated chicken. The real difference is in the ingredient list, not the picture on the package. If you want to know what you're really eating, read the ingredients instead of judging by the crispy golden coating. Sometimes, the most appealing crust is also the thing hiding what most shoppers rarely notice. 8. Bacon bits. Sprinkling bacon bits over a salad, baked potato, or bowl of soup makes many people think they're adding crispy pieces of real bacon. But turn over a few of the most popular bottles, and you may find something surprising. Not all of them contain pork. Many are made primarily from textured soy protein, vegetable oil, salt, sugar, and smoke flavoring to recreate the taste of bacon. The reason is simple. Real bacon costs more, has a shorter shelf life, and varies more in quality. Textured soy protein, on the other hand, is inexpensive, consistent, and stays crispy much longer after packaging. Add smoke flavor, caramel color, and seasonings, and manufacturers can create a product that tastes remarkably like bacon at a much lower cost. That doesn't mean bacon bits are fake or unsafe. If the label says bacon-flavored bits or bacon flavor, the product is accurately describing what it is. The problem is that many people see pictures of crispy bacon strips on the package and automatically assume they're buying real bacon. Just a few seconds spent reading the ingredient list will give you the answer. Sometimes, the ingredient adding the biggest burst of flavor to your salad comes from soybeans, not from a pig. 7. White tuna. When you order white tuna at a sushi restaurant, you probably assume you're eating tuna. But multiple DNA testing studies across North America have found that a surprising number of products labeled as tuna were actually escolar, a white, soft-textured fish with a flavor that's similar enough to tuna that most people can't tell the difference just by looking at it. Escolar is not tuna. It's also not a poisonous fish, but it contains high levels of gempolotoxin, a naturally occurring wax ester that the human body has difficulty digesting. For that reason, Japan and Italy have banned or restricted the sale of escolar for human consumption for many years in order to reduce the risk of digestive discomfort. That doesn't mean every serving of white tuna is actually escolar. Many reputable sushi restaurants serve exactly the species listed on the menu, but it's a clear example of how a menu description doesn't always reflect what's actually on the plate. If a sashimi dish seems unusually inexpensive or doesn't clearly identify the species of fish, ask before you order. Sometimes, one simple question is worth far more than a dish's appealing appearance. 6. Cinnamon. You may have been using cinnamon almost every day, without realizing it's not actually the kind you think it is. When people see the word cinnamon on the label, they naturally assume they're buying true cinnamon. In reality, most ground cinnamon sold in grocery stores is cassia, not Ceylon, the variety commonly known as true cinnamon. Cassia is much more widely grown, has a stronger, spicier flavor, costs less, and makes up the majority of the global cinnamon market. Ceylon, on the other hand, comes primarily from Sri Lanka, has a milder aroma, and usually sells at a much higher price. The biggest difference is coumarin, a naturally occurring compound found in much higher amounts in cassia. According to the European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, consuming large amounts of coumarin over a long period may increase the risk of liver problems in some sensitive individuals. That doesn't mean cassia is dangerous or banned. It's still legally sold around the world. However, if you use cinnamon every day in your coffee, oatmeal, or baking, it's worth checking whether the label says Ceylon cinnamon. Sometimes a single line on the label is all it takes to tell you which kind of cinnamon you're really buying. 5. Strawberry yogurt. You peel back the lid on a cup of strawberry yogurt, see the bright pink color, smell that familiar strawberry aroma, and naturally assume you're about to eat plenty of real strawberries. But the reality is often different. In many products, strawberries make up only a small portion of the recipe, while most of the flavor comes from added flavorings, fruit syrup, and sugar to keep the taste consistent year-round, regardless of the season or the quality of the fruit. The color doesn't always come from fresh strawberries either. Some products use carmine, a naturally derived red coloring, or other food colorings that are approved for use by regulators. That's completely legal as long as it's properly listed on the label. The problem is that most shoppers only notice the large strawberries pictured on the front of the package and never read the ingredient list on the back. According to the nutrition facts of many popular brands in the United States, a 150-gram cup of strawberry yogurt can contain around 15 to 20 grams of sugar, or nearly 4 to 5 teaspoons. Meanwhile, the amount of actual strawberries is often much lower than consumers expect. That doesn't mean you should stop eating strawberry yogurt. It's still a convenient food that's popular with many families. But if you want more real fruit and better control over your sugar intake, look for products that clearly state the fruit content, or choose plain yogurt and add fresh strawberries yourself. One small change can help you know exactly what's in every spoonful. 4. Cranberry juice. You see bright red cranberries covering the front of a juice bottle and assume you're about to drink pure cranberry juice. But if you turn the bottle around, you may find something completely different. Many products don't say 100% cranberry juice. Instead, they say cranberry juice cocktail. That single word, cocktail, changes almost everything about the product. The reason is simple. Pure cranberry juice is naturally very tart and slightly bitter because it contains very little natural sugar. To make it more enjoyable to drink, many manufacturers blend it with apple juice, grape juice, or water, then add sugar or other sweeteners. The result is a drink that still has the familiar cranberry flavor, even though cranberry isn't always the main ingredient. According to the nutrition information of many popular brands in the United States, one 8-ounce serving of cranberry juice cocktail can contain about 25 to 30 grams of sugar, or nearly 6 to 7 teaspoons. By comparison, 100% cranberry juice typically contains no added sugar and has a much stronger tart flavor. That doesn't mean juice cocktails are low quality or fake products. They're simply different from what many people imagine when they see the packaging. So the next time you buy juice, don't just look at the fruit on the front of the bottle. Check the product name and the ingredient list. Sometimes, the juice that makes up the largest portion of the bottle is apple juice, not cranberry, as you might expect. 3. Vitamin water. The name vitamin water sounds like the perfect healthy choice. Just seeing the word vitamin is enough for many people to assume it's a better alternative to soda. But what often goes unnoticed is that vitamins aren't the only thing inside the bottle. In some products, the sugar content is the number you should be paying attention to first. A 20-ounce, 591 milliliters, bottle of vitamin water from popular brands in the United States can contain about 26 to 32 grams of sugar, or nearly 6 to 8 teaspoons. That's less than many traditional sodas, but it's still a significant contribution to your daily sugar intake. Meanwhile, most of the added vitamins are synthetic vitamins, such as vitamin C and B vitamins, which are added after production rather than coming from fresh fruit juice. That's the power of marketing. The word vitamin stands out on the front of the bottle, leading many people to automatically associate it with a healthy drink. In reality, the nutritional value depends on the entire ingredient list, not just the handful of added vitamins. That doesn't mean vitamin water is a bad drink or something you should avoid completely. It can still make sense in certain situations, but if your goal is to cut back on sugar or choose a truly simple beverage, spend a few seconds reading the nutrition facts label. Sometimes, what determines whether a product is a good choice isn't the bold lettering on the front. It's the tiny numbers on the back of the bottle. 2. Truffle oil. A bottle of truffle oil may cost anywhere from $10 to $30, but that doesn't mean it contains slices of prized truffles. In reality, many products on the market use little to no real truffle at all. The signature aroma comes primarily from 2,4-dithia-pentane, a synthetic flavor compound developed to mimic the smell of white truffles. For most consumers, the aroma is convincing enough that the difference is almost impossible to notice. The reason is simple. Natural truffles are among the most expensive foods in the world. Depending on the variety, season, and quality, some truffles can sell for thousands of dollars per kilogram. If manufacturers used real truffles to produce oil on a large scale, the price would be far beyond what most consumers are willing to pay. That's why many companies use olive oil or grapeseed oil as the base, then add flavoring to recreate the characteristic truffle aroma at a much lower cost. That doesn't mean truffle oil is fake or unsafe. It's still a legal product as long as the ingredients are accurately listed on the label. However, many professional chefs believe the aroma of real truffles is far more subtle and complex than that of synthetic flavoring. If you want to know what you're actually buying, read the ingredient list. If you only see vegetable oil or olive oil along with truffle flavoring and no real truffles, you'll know exactly what's creating that distinctive aroma in the bottle. 1. Bottled Caesar dressing. Original Caesar dressing isn't just a rich, creamy dressing poured over a bowl of lettuce. The classic recipe is famous for its combination of egg yolks, anchovies, lemon juice, Parmigiano Reggiano, olive oil, garlic, and seasonings. But when you pick up a bottle of Caesar dressing at the grocery store, there's a good chance the recipe inside has been changed quite a bit to make it suitable for mass production. The reason comes down to shelf life. Fresh eggs, real lemon juice, high-quality cheese, and anchovies aren't always ideal for a product that's expected to sit on store shelves for months. That's why many manufacturers use Parmesan powder, emulsifiers, flavorings, acidity regulators, and stabilizers to keep the dressing from separating, extend its shelf life, and ensure it tastes the same from one production batch to the next. There's nothing illegal about that. And it doesn't mean bottled Caesar dressing is a low-quality product. It's simply optimized for convenience, affordability, and long-term storage. But if you think you're buying the original Caesar flavor, take a close look at the ingredient list. A bottle made with anchovies, real Parmesan, lemon juice, or olive oil is very different from one that relies mostly on flavorings and stabilizers. Sometimes, the difference between Caesar style and a true Caesar dressing comes down to just a few small lines on the back of the label. After going through this entire list, you've probably realized that fake foods aren't always counterfeit products or anything illegal. In many cases, they're made and sold completely within the rules. The real difference lies in how they're named, marketed, and presented on the packaging, often leading shoppers to picture something quite different from what's actually inside. The good news is that you don't have to be a nutrition expert to become a smarter shopper. Just spend a few extra seconds reading the ingredient list and the nutrition facts label, and you'll have a much better idea of what you're really paying for. What about you? Which of today's 20 foods surprised you the most? And have you ever discovered that a product wasn't what you thought it was after reading the label? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else make a smarter choice the next time they go grocery shopping.